Hi, everybody. Today's date is the 26th of July. It's Monday, the 26th of July. If we could please open the meeting with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept
things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I will not mind.
Welcome to the Monday night Zoom meeting of Overeaters Anonymous. This is a closed meeting. My name is Maria F. and I'm a recovered compulsive overeater, and I'm from County. If this is your first time at the meeting or you are visiting, could you please introduce yourself by your first name so that we can get to know you better? Anybody here for the first time?
Hi, yes, I'm here for the first time. I'm Jean. Nice to meet you.
Welcome, Jean.
And I'm Nancy C. I'm from Ann Arbor, Michigan in the States. Good to see everyone.
I'm Nancy.
I'm Ilana. I was here last week, but I didn't introduce myself. I'm living in Portugal, but I'm from the States.
Hi, Ilana.
And my name's Helen. I'm a compulsive eater, new to this meeting, but not to OA.
Hi, Helen. Okay, if you have any questions or any concerns during the meeting, please contact either myself or any of the co-hosts by private message, and you can do this in the chat function. We ask that you please keep your microphone on mute at all times during today's meeting, and if you need to step away from your camera for any reason at all, can you please disconnect your video? We're going to read the preamble, and the following readings are taken from the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. The preamble. Overeaters Anonymous is a fellowship of individuals who, through shared experience, strength, and hope, are recovering from compulsive overeating. We welcome everyone who wants to stop eating compulsively. There are no dues or fees for members. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. Neither soliciting nor accepting outside donations. OA is not affiliated with any public or private organization, political movement, ideology, or religious doctrine. We take no position on outside issues. Our primary purpose is to abstain from compulsive eating and compulsive food behaviors, and to carry the message of recovery through the 12 steps of OA to those who still suffer. And could Mark please? Do we have Mark on the line? Okay, do we have another reader for
I can do it, Maria.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Scotty.
Yeah, no worries. Let's get my book. So, my name is Scotty. I'm a grateful compulsive overeater. And how it works. There's feedback there. I don't know if it's me or.
Okay.
Rarely have we seen a person fail who truly follow their path. Those who not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constantly incapable of being honest with themselves. They are such unfortunates, they not a fault, the same to be born that way. They're naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorder, but many of them do recover if you have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we're like now. If you decided you want what we have and willing to go to any length to get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. As some of these we balked, we thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness of our command, we beg of you to be fearless and sure from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to old ideas, and the result is nil till we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, powerful. Without help, it's too much for us, but there one is all power, that one is God. May you find him now. Half measures avail us nothing, we stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care would complete or abandoned. Here are the steps we took with suggesting a program of recovery.
Thanks, Scotty. And Nancy P is going to read the 12 steps for us. Thanks, Nancy.
Sure. We had one, we admitted we were powerless over food, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. The second. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so could injure them. Whoops, sorry. Or others. Sorry, I'm at the car dealership. 10, continue to take personal inventory. Excuse me, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics, to other compulsive overeaters, and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Thank you for letting me share.
Thanks so much, Nancy. And next we have Margaret, who's going to read more about compulsive overeating. Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Maria. Hi, everybody. I'm Margaret and a compulsive overeater. More about compulsive overeating. Most of us have been unwilling to admit we were real compulsive overeaters. No person likes to think he is bodily and mentally different from his fellows. Therefore, it is not surprising that our eating careers have been characterized by countless vain attempts to prove we could eat like other people. The idea that somehow, someday, we will control and enjoy his eating is the great obsession of every abnormal eater. The persistence of this illusion is astonishing. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. We learned that we had to fully concede to ourselves, to our innermost selves, that we were compulsive overeaters. This is the first step in recovery. The delusion that we are like other people, or presently maybe, has to be smashed. We compulsive overeaters are men and women who have lost the ability to control our eating. We know that no real compulsive overeater ever recovers control. All of us felt at times that we were regaining control, but such intervals, usually brief, were inevitably followed by still less control, which led in time to pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. We are convinced to a man that compulsive overeaters of our type are in the grip of a progressive illness. Over any considerable period, we get worse, never better. We are like men who have lost their legs. They never grow new ones. Neither does there appear to be any kind of treatment which will make compulsive overeaters of our kind like other men. We have tried every imaginable remedy. In some instances, there has been brief recovery, followed always by still worse relapse. Physicians who are familiar with compulsive overeating agree that there is no such thing as making a normal eater out of a compulsive overeater. Science one day may accomplish this, but it hasn't done so yet.
Thanks so much, Margaret. And Carol is going to read tradition 7 for us, please. Thanks, Carol.
Hi, my name is Carol, I'm a compulsive overeater. Tradition 7, every OA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions.
Thanks, Carol. And next we have Leah, who's going to read a vision for you from page 164. Hi, Leah.
I'm compulsive overeater. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then.
Thanks so much, Leah. And we are absolutely delighted to have Russ M from Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, here with us this evening. Russ is going to share he's going to read page 50 from We Agnostics, and then he's going to share for 25 minutes. So over to you, Russ.
Thanks, Maria. It's all the same. Philadelphia's in PA. It's in Pennsylvania. You're perfect. You did a great job. All right, let me grab this reading right quick. If I can find it. We're in trouble. There we go. So I'm reading this on my Kindle. I'm sorry if I got you confused. I don't know which part of page 50 it is. It's the paragraph that starts. I'll read it now. On one proposition, however, these men and women are strikingly agreed. Every one of them has gained access to and believes in a power greater than himself. This power has, in each case, accomplished the miraculous, the humanly impossible. As a celebrated American statesman put it, let's look at the record. This paragraph jumped out at me because there's no way today I'm talking to you. No way I'm on this meeting. No way I'm in this office if a power greater than myself didn't save me. If God, I call my higher power God, if God didn't save me. It's a miracle. It's a stone cold miracle that I'm here. I know it sounds overly dramatic. You might think I'm a BSer, but that's the truth. It's the truth. My whole life was one big binge from as long as I can remember, since I was a little young kid, 6, 7 years old, always eating, always about food, obsession with food. I used to think because I got molested or my grandfathers and my dad were alcoholics, or my grandmother was a compulsive overeater. She had to be. And that there's addiction in my family. That's the reason why I'm a compulsive overeater. And it took me now like 4.5 years, right, in program, being clean, that's not it. They're excuses. And I'm born a junkie. I'm born an addict, and it just happened to be food. And my parents probably, if they were great or they didn't have these problems, I still would have been the same way. So this has been going on as long as I can remember. It's always been about food. And was it about dealing with life? I don't know. As a kid, I'm not 100% sure that I was trying to quell emotions. Could have been, but I think I like to eat. It was something that made me feel good. I enjoyed it. But as I became older, right, as I got older in my teens, then it started changing. There's more control issues, and I didn't know how to deal with life. My interpersonal skills weren't great. As much as I was around people my whole life, I was an only child. I'm the youngest of all the cousins. I'm the namesake of a Sicilian family. My grandfather came over from Sicily to America, and I'm the only name. And like those pressures build up in me, and I know that there was a connection between those pressures and these things that were ruminating in the back of my mind, and me trying to get the hit from the food. And I knew something was wrong with me. I just didn't know how to name it. I didn't know what to. I couldn't put my finger on it for forever, and I wasted relationships. I wasted a ton of money between clothes, gym memberships, drugs, like diet pills, supplements, exercise programs, the gym. I wasted mental energy, obsessive energy, like just trying to control situations and figure out why I was doing what I was doing for years, a lot. And I never got to the bottom of it. I could never figure it out. So I just continued to eat. I just thought I was damaged goods for the rest of my life and I was going to die this way. So this disease has stole almost everything that was valuable to me. Almost everything that meant something to me. Relationships, my business. About 7, 8 years ago, I was blowing money like a gambler, like anybody else that has an addiction. Almost my family, almost my wife. And, I know in my 30s, I ran into a guy. This is how God works, right? Through music, I play music. And I'm a chiropractor. And he was coming in and we became very close friends. And he told me he was in recovery from crack cocaine addiction. And matter of fact, he texted me this morning. I saw him last weekend. He said, Russ, I said, John, I'm having an issue with food. I think I'm addicted. I don't know. I just can never get this monkey off my back. And I remember right where I was standing in my old office. He said, listen, he said, you should try step program, 12-step program. And in all my education and all my smarts and all my wisdom, I said, what the hell do I need that for? That's for people that got a problem. That's for people that are weaklings. But he planted a seed. So Amazon was just starting up. I bought the OA Overeaters Anonymous book, and I read it and went through the first step. And my pride was so bad, so huge, that on such a high level that I just couldn't see me, a doctor that knows so much about nutrition and how the body functions, that I need a 12-step program to quit eating. I threw the book down. In my office. And the kicker is, when I needed it, I couldn't find it. That went on for about, and I continued to eat, and it became really progressive, like that man of 30. I was in bad shape for 10 years. Well, let me say, it was 2004 to 2017, 13 years. But around 2016, see, John planted that seed. He planted a seed. And I would dabble here and there. I never got into a full program. I never went to a meeting, but I would listen to podcasts periodically. And this was the kicker, January 13th, Friday the 13th of 2017. And I had a little argument with my wife, probably over something stupid. We're very immature, right? I was very immature. I catastrophize everything. And, my wife had been putting up with my outbursts and my eating and not having money and raising 5 kids, and just a lot on her. And that night I snapped at her and yelled at her, and she brought me into the living room, and she said, look, we're going to go down my mom's. Just a couple hours. You better get your stuff together. Figure out what you're going to do. Because if this doesn't change, we're going to have to leave. But the kids don't deserve it, and I don't deserve it. She was right. And I didn't argue her. And I had been snooping around, listening to podcasts. I knew there was a meeting for 2 years. On Tuesday nights, I said, I'm going to go to this meeting right after work. And I never went. 2 years. I mean, it was like a quarter mile from my office. I didn't go to that meeting. I knew right where it was. I had staked for a year. I had staked out all the meetings. So that night she told me that, and I called the outreach person, and they set me up the next day. And I went to that meeting, and I knew when I was there, I was home. Having said that, it wasn't a big book meeting, but they were reading, they rotated it. It was a different type of meeting. Just, I don't want to say regular OA, because OA is just, there's different forms of it, right? They read how it works. And that first sentence, rarely have we seen a person fail who thoroughly followed our path. And that just, my ears went up. It spoke to my heart, because I failed at everything. Throughout life. My business, my relationships were down in the tank. Financially, I failed. My marriage was starting to fail. I was going to lose my kids. That were as a kid, the only thing I ever really prayed for, what I wanted was to have a strong faith in God, a family with children, and a business. And I lost all of it almost. And I just wasn't willing to lose my wife and kids. And I'm not saying that like tomorrow I could lose them. Tomorrow I could lose them. This is not like a sure thing. If I veer away a little degree to the left or right, I'm going to be in bad shape again. I don't take any of this for granted. This is hard work, and I had to work this program. And so I was going to 4 face-to-face meetings a week, and then I see this pamphlet for A Vision for You. And, you know, I was listening to podcasts. So I was hearing these different personalities on the podcast. And sure enough, I dial into Vision for You and I hear all these personalities. But that wasn't it. It was that they were going through the big book. And that just piqued my interest. That just spoke to my soul because there was a solution in it. I knew there was a solution in that book. It just spoke to my spirit. It wasn't anything that I knew from research. I just knew it. I knew it was in there. It was hardcore. It was hardcore. And because I was a junkie and I tried everything. I tried everything I could get out of this food. I did everything. Puking, X-Lax, anything. Okay, pretty much everything. I don't want to say if you name it, I did it. I did a lot of things to try to control this whole, my life, my diet. And this, I felt like it was like a cross on my back, this monkey on my back. So I heard these personalities. Oh my gosh, every day I'm on this meeting. So I announced myself as a newcomer, and not even a day later, this dude calls me from New York. Hey, bro, I love your shares, bro. Yo, I'll work with you, bro. He said, until you get a sponsor. You know who that is, Charles, right? Charles Ace, my man. It's my brother to this day. It's my best friend, one of my best friends. And he keeps, like he says, he keeps it real. So he was working with me through the big book, but he's like, look, your sponsor is not teaching you through the big book. You're going to relapse if you don't get this right. So I was like, Charles, can you sponsor us? Look, I'm packed. He says, I would take you. I can't do it, but I got somebody for you. So he handed me off to Craig F., who's my sponsor. And we just worked the steps. I didn't argue with him. I couldn't. I didn't have it in me. I was, whatever, dude. Whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do. And I'm not saying that's how everybody should do it. I'm saying I was so broken down. And so I just had nothing left. I was losing everything. Everything was going. I had nothing. Look, I had nothing to lose. I tried everything, but the only thing I was going to lose was my family. I didn't care about myself. I could have died. It didn't matter to me. And Craig walked me through the steps, and I had to work them. I work them every day. Frankly, there's sometimes I don't want to do all this. But then I look back and I look how far I've come. My kids, they want nothing to do with me. I stole from my children. I stole from my kids, directly and indirectly. We wouldn't have enough money for Christmas gifts, so I would take their money because I was eating. Or, I would exhaust our funds and we needed some money. I stole from my kids. And my kids, they felt it. They felt it. And now I'm sitting 4.5 years later. I'm going to brag. I'm going to brag on God because God put it this way. I had to give up my business in 2014. I failed. And I worked for someone. And it was contentious and it was rough, but I loved him and he loved me. And he passed away. He got sick over the pandemic. He had multiple things going on and he passed. And we have to get through that, right? He was like my mentor. I had to start up on my own again. If I was in the food, I'd be dead right now because I wouldn't know how to do it. This program has taught me how to be a real person, be alive, be a grown-up, and act smart and responsible. There's wisdom and insights that come not from human beings, man. God put this there. I got my bumps. This is not perfect. But I have a way of handling life now because of this program. I'll tell you another thing. I'm in program. I'm on that pink cloud in 2018, April. Found out my mother had some financial issues that tied me into it because I was on a lot of properties with her after my father passed. And if I was in the food, I'd be dead because I would either had a heart attack or I've been hospitalized from the stress. It was tough. I just worked the program. I called my grant sponsor up and I said, I don't know what to do. He said, just recover, work your program. You don't know what's coming around the corner. I said, I'm finished. I'm just getting my feet under me. I'm finished. I'm going to be paying back debt that I don't even owe. God worked it out. I worked this program, recovered. I took on more sponsees. I did more service. Something happened. And it wasn't just for Russ. It wasn't just for me. These things didn't happen just for me. Everybody involved, it was the best possible scenario. Like, it's like in your weakness, you have strength when you surrender your life. I have to do it. It's every day. I think some of what, I don't know. It's got to be multifaceted. You know, the obsession of the mind, the allergy of the body. Part of my obsession of the mind is not trusting God with my life. It wasn't just life was getting on my nerves or I couldn't have what I want. I just couldn't trust God. And no, I ate over that. So I'm supposed to be this God-fearing man and this great Christian, and I was a failure at that. And frankly, you know, when I doubt and I'm struggling, and today, you know, I don't know what to do. So, yo, God got you out of that $500,000 jam and helped everybody in the process when you thought there was no solution. So that miracle thing that sorry, I'm pointing. That's my Italian. I talk with my hands. I'm sorry. So that thing where it says it's miraculous, it is miraculous. You're looking at a miracle, and it ain't Russ, this OA speaker, or, you know, this guy that does whatever it is. It's a junkie. You're sitting and looking at a junkie, an addict that was pretty much hopeless. That I was done. And God restored me through these 12 steps. What keeps me free? Let me tell you what keeps me free. Prayer, meditation, that 11th step, working a 10 step, having people around me that could take a 10 step, and me taking a 10 step. There's something for me, there's something spiritual, metaphysical that goes on there when you take a 10 step and you pray with someone and sponsoring. It jumps your program up to the highest level. We can't be afraid of these things. Before all that, you know, the 4th and 5th step, who the hell wants to put that stuff out there? Who wants to bare their soul? But you know what? There's no other option with this disease. You will die if you don't do it. I mean, we want to be nice and friendly and all that. My sponsor wasn't nice and friendly. He was like just in a way. You know, I don't want to, you understand what I'm saying? He was, look, you got to do this to get free. You want the outcome? This is what you got to do. There's no negotiation. Do it. And I did it the best I could. And the things that came up later, we did a 10 step, or we did a mini inventory, or I did the steps again in certain ways. But we were in the process. And that's what saved saved me. It saved me. I'm here because of this program, because of God. Everything that I have, whether people want to hear it or not, comes from God. Every good I have in my life comes from those 12 steps. My fellows that are around, that my 10, 11, and 12, because all this is drawing me back to trusting God and surrendering to God. And it's an everyday process. And there's days I don't want to do it. And there's days when, you know, I'm like, Lord, you could take me, but I stay in the process. And that's how I got free. And at least now, right now, maybe I won't have every dollar ever made, or I won't have the perfect family or the perfect marriage or the business. I have a spiritual program that will help me just live free, and be able to, you know, be regular, be able to not be half nuts or fully nuts. Because you know, I'm a little crazy, but that's what it's done for me. And, you know, coming back, my wife and I, you know, we're like, it's getting there, man. You know, we're going to be 22 years married, and we're working on it, and we're bearing with each other in love. My kids, I'm bragging. I'm going to brag. I'm telling you, I would never have this if it wasn't for program. I'm playing music with my kids. I got my son that plays the drums. My other son sings and plays the guitar. My daughter sings. My goddaughter sings, and my daughter's best friend, they play. We're out playing. These kids are like the young adults, teens. They're with their old man. They call me the old DB.
Five more, Russ.
They call me the
5
old
more
DB.
minutes.
Thank you very much. The old decrepit bass player, but they use another word instead. And it's only through program that I have this relationship with my children now. It's a gift, man. I got a business. I'm paying my bills. I have relationship with my patients. I mean, it's only through this program. Everything I got is through God and this program. And so I guess being a junkie compulsive overeater was the best blessing in my life. I know it sounds whacked, it sounds crazy, but I won't be where I'm at if I didn't go through all those struggles. And I didn't. If I didn't talk to my buddy John Hill in my office and he didn't plant that seed, I'd be dead. And that's the truth. And I worked the program I'm doing my best to work it the way it was laid out in the big book. That's the way I got to do it. I can't speak for anybody else. I just know Russ M has to do it that way, because I could start getting that mind, that obsession will kick up quick as anything and say, yeah, no, I think I got this. And then before you know it, I'm in the gutter again. And that's the gist of it. Everything I have is through program. My fellows, well, let's do it like this. Everything I have is through God. And I'm grateful for everything, all of it. My friends, my family, my children, any blessing, and my breath, breathing, my heartbeat, this program. I'm so grateful for Dr. Bob Silkworth and then Bill Wilson. Like, these guys saved my life. They're my heroes. They're my heroes. And never would I have thought that I'd be doing what I'm doing now. And this is not about a perfect. I don't mean this is like a perfect ending, because if I veer from this, it's curtains for me. So it's right now in the process, and I'm going to stick to it. I'm not going to get cute. I'm not getting cute. I'm going to just do what I'm supposed to be doing. And there's things I can shore up and be better. And that's my passion in life. This is it. Program. Some people don't want to hear that. My wife may not want to hear it. Family members, program first, because if I do program first, God is first. And if God is first, everything is perfect. Well, you know what I'm saying? Everything works out the way it needs to be. So thank you for letting me share. Thank you for letting me be on this meeting. I really appreciate this.
Gosh, thank you so much, Russ, and for all you do, for all the service you give, and for all you give to Vision for You, for all you've given to us here tonight, Russ. And when I asked you to come here and share tonight, you were working. You were working. You were scheduled to work today, but you changed that. You changed that to be here with us tonight, and did everything to put. What you said to me, what was, Russ? It has to come first. If it doesn't come first, I don't have anything. And what you shared here tonight, that God comes first, and because of God and your higher power, that's why you have what you have in your life. And I loved when you bragged. I loved seeing how the program works in you and through you. And I know you've come on the back of service today. You were wingman earlier for me at Vision Meeting, and you've done service already, and here you are again tonight. So just for what you give, Russ, you're amazing. Thanks a million. So we're going to go over to Q&A and to anyone who has a question for us. Thanks again, Russ. And if you want to ask a question, or if you want to share, can you please raise your hand and we'll call on you accordingly. And first we have Scott. And if we can give 2 minutes each, Susan, that'd be great.
Thanks a million, Maria. My name is Scotty. I'm a grateful compulsive overeater. And I had my hand up fairly early. It was just great listening to you. And it's always amazing lost you there. I always find that share meetings are so important for me anyway. And any meeting that people talk about God, my ears perk up, because God is the crux of my program. And like you talked about, it has to be the center of my life, before my kid, before my girlfriend, before my job. Now, recovery isn't all my life, but it's the top of the list, top of the pops, I like to say. Recovery has to be my Bohemian Rhapsody, and it has to stay at that, because if I start putting other things before my recovery, it starts to shake and it will collapse, So I'm so grateful that I do put my recovery first, and my partner doesn't need to know that either, And you said Friday the 13th, that's when my son was born, so he'll be a year next month, Friday the 13th. So there's just so much identification Yeah, and like I suppose with me, I wouldn't really do step 10 calls, you know, but for me, I pray a lot, you know. I know each to their own, but I do a lot of step 10s with my higher power, who I choose to call Jesus, and it's just the way I do it. Because my sponsor has feet of clay, I have feet of clay, and I will make mistakes, and I'm not perfect, you know. So I need to depend on that higher power. And I always have to remember, and I always share this, that the guts of the steps were written by non-alcoholics or non-compulsive overeaters. They were a Christian organization called the Oxford Group. And I know Bill took 6, added another 6. So that always just clarifies for me that you don't need to be an alcoholic or an addict.
That's time.
Yeah, so it's important that I share that. And thanks everyone for being there.
Scotty, do we have any more hands or anyone with a question for us? Anyone like to share?
Can I ask, please, Russ, and thank you so much, Maria, for your service, and Russ, thank you so much for your service. It was absolutely amazing listening to you. I just got so much from the gratitude you have for God and the program and how you use the program. I loved the explanation about the steps and how important it is, and just to work it like your hair is on fire, that it has to be an integral part of the day, because without the program and God, I hear, like me, that you have nothing, that everything collapses and falls down around. Russ, can you explain how you work your step 10 throughout the day, please?
Thanks, Carol.
Thank you very much for the question. So if I feel something is, you know, just something just not sitting right, it don't have to be really, for me, it doesn't have to be an outright resentment. I'm pissed off, I'm angry. Just something's uneasy. I get on the phone. I have a 10-step partner. And guys, I have a little crew of guys that will take a 10-step. Not just guys. I'm, you know, my fellows. I shouldn't say it like that. That'll take the 10th step, and you know, we go through it. Where's my resentment? If there's no resentment, there's no resentment. Dishonesty, fear, selfishness. What's going on there? What's the root of it? And then we pray and ask God to remove it. I don't write it out. I get on the phone or I FaceTime somebody and we work it out. And it's at once. It's at once. I can't afford to let them linger. I've done it in program, and it's just, they pile up. You know, it's like you're, I don't know, it's a corny analogy, but you know, even if you sweep dust under the rug, you keep sweeping on the rug, it's going to put a lump in the thing. You're going to trip over, you know, part of the rug. That's, for me, I got I can't spiritually dust it under the rug. I got to take care of it, because I'm half nuts. I got emotional issues. I have an obsession of the mind. When this emotion gets rolling, that hamster up in my brain starts running on the treadmill. You know, now I'm going, I don't like this person. You know, it just catastrophizes everything and it multiplies. So I got to get it off me as soon as I can. So you know, I'm using the phone. I'm not, how would you say, I'm not the greatest with doing a 10-step over text or writing. I need to do it. It needs to come out of my mouth. And that's just for Russ. You know, I can't speak for anyone else. That's how I run my 10th step. And it's not like where I'm going to wait at the end. There's times I do 10 a day. There's times I do 3 a day. You know, it's all on what's going on. But as you go, know what it is we do. You know, I was talking to Charles one day about it. Charles H. from New York, and that's my boy. We're very close. And I said, we were like talking about it. And he's like, we do 10 steps, so we don't have to do as many 10 steps. Like, we do them to find out what the root of this deal is and why I'm feeling this way. So we're aware of it, that as you do more, less of this stuff bothers you. But you got to do them. They have to be done. So now that I went on a dissertation, that's how I did my 10 step.
Thanks so much, Carol, for the question, and thanks, Russ. And next we have Susan G in LA. Hiya, Susan.
Oh, okay. Hi, hold on. Let me set my own timer. Here we go. Keep it honest. Hi, Susan, recovered compulsive overeater. Seem to be becoming a regular in Ireland, second day in a row. I just want to say, Russ, thank you so much. And what I heard was, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. And once you made that decision and thoroughly followed the path, your life changed. And the promises start happening as soon as I do that, right? As soon as you said, I have nothing more to say, I just listened and I did what I was told to do. And that was the same for me after 16 years of trying to, debate my case, why I was different, why I should work it this way, why I should do it that way, getting fatter and fatter all the time. One day I paused and listened to somebody who was in a recovered state, and God spoke to them through me, and my life started to change immediately. So if you are new or you are struggling, put down the fork, stop talking, as it was strongly suggested to me, which was really hard to do, but I did it. And my life has changed. I've had an entire psychic change as the result of working these steps, of doing those 10 steps, of doing that nightly review, of telling somebody when I've been, I won't use a bad word because it's being recorded, but when I've just not been a very lovely girl, I call one of you, get in the center of the herd, use the fellowship. There is so much spirit, so much love. Find those people who are talking that language of the heart and get in the lifeboat with them. So Russ, thank you so much for your share, and I will now be quiet. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Susan. And next we have Geraldine. Oh, hi, Geraldine.
Hi, Maria. Hi, everyone. Hi, Russ. Thanks so much for that. I love the chair meetings and really loved your share. I really appreciated you just being so honest about your recovery, all the different parts of your life that the disease touched, because I was the same a year ago. And, you said that paragraph jumped off the page to you. And absolutely, the power in each case accomplished the miraculous. And when I think back to this time last year, I had no idea that I was going to be here. And thankfully, nearly 9 months in recovery. And, it's all down to this program, the fellowship. Listen, I hear you on the vision line. It's great to put another face to the name. But yeah, that paragraph, and you referred to it as did Susan, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. And at that stage, I remember going through it with my sponsor and thinking they wouldn't have written that down if it wasn't true. They wouldn't still be printing it. I just have to just keep doing, working the steps, and it's going to work. And, it's back then to the other paragraph. It was truly miraculous. And I loved what you said about the 10 steps. Doing them prevents us doing more. I've seen time and time again where you nip something in the bud, you work it through, you make the amend, and it stops it snowballing. And they were the types of things that could be really petty. I had a really petty one last Friday, and it was a nothing, a little text that I didn't stop and pause about, but the 10 steps stopped me making it worse. And I amended what I was going to do, and it kept me out of trouble. And God stayed there with me, and like you said, a true miracle. So thanks so much for sharing your story. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks so much, Geraldine. And next up we have Tina W for your 2 minutes. Hi, Tina.
Hey, thank you. I'm Tina W from South Jersey. Russell, thank you for your honesty and your total surrender. And it sounds like your family's still somewhat young, and your marriage is intact and things are looking upward. I'm wondering, I also have kids, married a long time. How do you integrate your family into your revelations of your spiritual life, and how does that relate to the family afterward chapter? And also, how do you deal with maybe your kids having a food addiction or noticing things that you didn't notice before? Because I'm so self-centered, I'm just focused on myself, and I'm looking at the wreckage of the past, and I'm seeing that there's a lot of things that I have no power over to fix, really, other than being an example. And I just wondered if you could talk about that in any way, shape, or form, about your relationship with them on a spiritual level. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. So look, I'm no good Christian, like I ain't a good ass Christian. I'm Catholic and we live our faith. We've been this, even in my addiction, it's important. We pray together. My wife and I met in church. That's like the dichotomy of it. Like, our faith was always first, but I'm a junkie. Like, I can't get out of this food. Jesus, help me. It didn't work like that because I didn't totally surrender everything. So my kids are involved in that faith. They're involved with us. They know that now it's deeper. It's much better. It's much better because they see the little bit of change that I have and how I'm treating mom and how I'm treating them, and that they know I'm trying to do it right. They could see my effort. They can see my effort, and that matters to me. It propels me to try to even do better. So they're involved. I mean, I got a 19-year-old going to be 20. I got an 18-year-old. I got a 16-year-old, 14-year-old, and going to be a 10-year-old. That's the gamut. You got all different emotions, and they've seen me at my worst. They see me at my best, and we get into it. We're family. It ain't perfect. We ain't the Partridge family. We're not the Brady's, right? But we work a program. It's like the family ends up being a part of the program. They don't necessarily work the steps, but they know what I need to do when I'm having issues. And we work through it and we communicate. And that's the key. That's the key for me with the wife and the kids, is that we're talking. We're trying. Even if stuff I don't want to hear. Even like I don't want to hear that. But you're impacting them. So you better hear it and try to change it and make it better. So it's a good thing. They're involved. And we try to pray together. And it doesn't always happen, but we're working towards it. It's very important to us. And then the other part, what was that second part of that question? Now that I went on a tangent down the left field.
I think you pretty much touched everything. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's good.
I'm Sicilian, man. We can go. I could talk for an hour. I'm sorry about that.
Thanks, Tina, for the question, and thanks, Russ. Next, we have Debbie G, followed by Katie. Hey, Debbie G.
Hi, guys. I'm Debbie. I'm a compulsive overeater. Russ, it was so lovely listening to you, and I absolutely love Charles. When I hear it, I'm only new in this program. When I hear Charles come on the vision meeting, I'm like, yay, Charles. I love him. He's so honest. I just have a question for you. I've been in AA for 13 years and, was able to get absolute and total, complete surrender around alcohol and have been fine. But was there a point in with the food that you knew that there was, did there come a point where you knew there was a God, believed 100% in a God, and then you never go back? Because I'm still atheist, agnostic. I think I was so beaten by the alcohol, that just went, but there's still that part of me that won't totally surrender to the food. There's still that ego in there going, yeah, not that bad, and you were saying that you knew you were absolutely and utterly beaten. Do you believe that you actually have to get to that stage before you can totally surrender? Or am I even making sense of that question?
No. I got you. The big book even says it in one of the chapters. You got to be pretty beat up to really, not that you have to know that you're alcoholic or know that you're compulsive, but that, we have to be beat up. We have to have desperation, and we agnostics, alcohol finally beat us in the state of reasonableness. I was done. I had enough. Not everybody has to go there, but I did. I know I did. So some of us might have to do that. Others could pick that message up right before they bump their head on a rock bottom. I know one thing. I still have my doubts. But then I look back at where I was and then where I'm at. There's no possible way I could have done this. There's no way. I'm telling you, every move I made, I screwed up. Every move I made, I was a train wreck. And now I'm the half a train wreck, but it's pretty good. And only God could do that. Someone else did that. And I don't have to figure it out. I'm done trying to figure it out. I told you I waste mine hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to figure this stuff out. Sorry, excuse me. Trying to figure this disease out. You know, Harlan says it. Harlan's my man. That's my grand sponsor. He's a dear friend of mine. I love him, but I'm going to steal his line. There's a God that ain't me. Something else. I ain't got to figure it out. I ain't got to figure it out because I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for God. And that's it. I'm not trying to beat you over the head. I'm saying if you go through the steps and you work it that hard enough and you dig in there, put that food down and you attack this, you'll believe in God before it's over. That's all I could say. That's all I could say because there's no other possible way these things happen. I don't know what else to say. I mean, how many times if you take God out of the big book, you know, it's like you got about 3 pages. You know what I mean? You know, you get. I'm not trying to force you. I'm saying maybe you say, yo, sometimes you got to talk to him like this. I talk to him like he's from Philadelphia. I say, yo, are you there? You're not there. What's going on? Because we're human beings and that's how we are. We're like that. We all have some sort of agnosticism in our hearts. We all do because we're touchy and feely and we want to see it. We want to prove to us. But if I can't see it, well, what's going on in my life, then you might as well just take me up back and get rid of me because this is what it is. I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here. I'm not lying to you. I wouldn't lie to you. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not trying to be no prophet or beat you over the head. I'm not sitting here if it ain't for God. And that's it. That's all I could say. And now I went on and on.
No, that was worth feeling. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Debbie. And next up we have KD.
Thank you, Maria. Hi, everyone. My name is Kadi. I'm a compulsive overeater. Thank you so much, Phil, for your share. I mean, I really like the fact that you shared how you used your program not only for your addiction, but in your life, in all your affairs, and how this actually has changed your relationships with your colleagues and your family. I so much recognize this. I mean, my parents and my sisters actually not only seeing the change and the body change, but as well my personality changes. And yeah, what I did like as well is the fact that you're mentioning that the promises of the program is not to be happily ever after. But at least what I understood was that the reality is not going to change, but the perception and the experience is going to change. And this one is thanks to the program. And I really like this emphasis. And I always say this, it's managing to be serene in the eye of a storm. And this one is we managed to do this by going through the steps. And even though we're going up to step 12, it never ends. And that's what I felt when you shared. So thank you very much for this share. And last but not least, the step 10. For me, it's really magical. I always say I have my step 10, and then it plays ping pong with my step 6, 7, and sometimes my step 4 and step 9 counts the points. And the resentments are still here, but somehow it just slides. It doesn't last as long as it used to. And it's so important indeed to have someone and a kind of God squad to be able to speak, to be able to share this. And so thank you so much for this reminder. Very grateful to be here. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Katie. And next we have, lastly, we have Kelsey B, and you'll be our last person to share tonight, Kelsey.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kelsey. I'm a compulsive overeater. I'm from Minnesota originally. And Russ, thanks so much for your share. You were speaking my words from the heart. And I just was giggling at all the funny things you were saying. And I really related to what you said. And I have a question for you as for someone who's working on their 4th step. And you mentioned, program comes first in your life, it comes first for you. How do you deal with like a big life, event? Like I'm getting ready to move back to the States, and I am like freaking out. And how am I gonna do my 4th step? How am I gonna move everything? How's this gonna all work out? Do you have any suggestions or any advice to anyone who's newer in program that's working on their 4th step of how to just get through it, how to get it done, and any advice. Yeah. Thanks. I'll pass.
Thanks a lot, Kelsey. I appreciate it. I would say just do it. Just get it done. Just do your best and let God do the rest. You know, do the best you can with it. Make a good effort. You can also, you know, you could search. I think it's silkworth.net. I can't remember, but search prayers out of the big book. What I do with my sponsees is when they do the fear, and there's a group of prayers out of the big book. This is what helps me and helps my sponsees. And they have pre-inventory prayer, a fear prayer, a resentment prayer, the pre-sex or the sex inventory prayer. Pray them before you do the work. So if you're working on your fear inventory, pray the fear prayer. These things will help you get over the hump. And then you're going to use them regularly. You're going to use them when fear comes up. You got this thing, you got to get back to the States. You start praying that fear prayer because it's the start. It's the start as you get into after your 5th and 6th step and you get up around 10 and you start developing your 11th step. It's going to be more in depth. It's going to be deeper. You'll be working deeper and closer to your higher power. But for now, you have these things because sometimes we need a structure in the beginning to get us through the more. I don't want to say it's difficult. I want to say it's challenging. It's more rigorous. This 4th and 5th step, and this is where a lot of people slip up. You know, I didn't want to do it. Who the hell wants to do it? But on the other side of that pain, man, you're going to get free. You're going to get free. So I would use those prayers. You could, if you want, you could text me. I'll give you my contact information, email me, whatever you want, and I could get them to you. And anybody wants that. I mean, you could search it on the internet, but I do have them on my phone. I can send them right to you. It's not a problem. It's really, really helped me out. It's really that kept me out of the food for like 3 or 4 months before I even worked the steps. Was those prayers because I was kind of working with Charles and I didn't know what working the steps was because my original, when I first got into the program, my sponsor was more of a food sponsor. He didn't work steps with me. So I didn't know that, but I found these prayers. So I just prayed them and that's what got me to the steps. And then it helped me throughout the steps. And now I've used them in my 11th step throughout the day. So now that I gave you the longest answer you needed, just let me know. I'll get anything to you or just search them.
Thanks so much, Kelsey, for the question, and thanks, Russ. And that brings, I'm going to stop the recording.